there's any comparisons in the conversations you had when you played with Randy Moss, if you see any similarities in their games and kind of the conversations and pointers you give him that maybe you and Randy talked about.
From a physical standpoint, both big bodies and big catch radiuses, great body control, great understanding of the game, feel, instincts. Randy's a Hall of Famer. I think Mike's going to be obviously 1, too. And it's just, it's been amazing to play with him. I love playing with Mike. He's been just spectacular from the day I met him, and admired him from afar for a long time. And just blessed to play with him and Chris, what he's, accomplished in his short time in the NFL. So I think those two guys really lead the charge with our receivers, and they're great mentors for the younger players we have. And we're just going to keep working hard every day, try to be on the same page more and more.
All right, next is going to be Rick Stroud.
Yeah, Tom, along those lines, you ripped that seam route to Mike, and I don't know that it was the same play that he didn't see in New Orleans per se, but he talked about that in the back shoulder where you gave him the route, and he said he caught like 50 balls on that Friday in a similar spot. Is that sort of the thing you mean by, the hard work paying off that you saw in the game on Sunday?
Yeah, I think that's, I think it's pretty natural. The more you're together, the more you talk, the more you communicate, the more you practice, play together, the situations come up, and then so much is nonverbal communication. What did you see? What did I see? What do you? And as long as we both see it the same way, that's important. It's hard if I saw this or I saw this, and then mistakes happen. Unfortunately, it's just part of the learning process, and I think it's not like I played a lot of football. I have in my mind what I think's going to happen or what's happened for me over 20 years, and the conversation I've had. But unfortunately, I've never had those conversations with this group of players, and that's just part of it, So it's just the way it is. And you can't replicate, live game time reps. You've got to just do it on the practice field, talk through them. Unfortunately, when it happens in the game, you got to really take those to heart and learn from them and, try to improve them. But I love working with our group of receivers, our tight ends. We're off to a decent start. We've got to really build on it and try to make as many improvements as quickly as possible.
Okay, next up, we're going to have Jenna Lane.
Promise I won't cut you off this week. I won't interrupt you. I promise.
All right, I'm holding you to that.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I thought they were going to throw me in jail for that.
No.
Well, so speaking along the lines of tight ends, you have such a great track record with Rob Gronkowski and everything. Are you guys comfortable with where you two are at in this offense? I mean, he's had 4 targets, I want to say, 2 catches. I know he's used to maybe a little bit more, but yeah, are you guys comfortable with where you're at together in this offense, or is there still a lot of room to grow there?
Well, I think we all have a lot of things we've got to, we're going to be improving from the time we started to the time we finish the season. So I don't think we can be discouraged by certain things. It's some weeks it's going to be some guys' weeks, other weeks it's going to be other guys' weeks, and everyone's working hard at practice to try to find, their spot, their role. We got to figure out what works or what combinations work or what we do well or what we don't do well, and that's just part of the season. And like I said, you wish everything would be perfect. That's just not the reality of football. There's too many things to orchestrate. There's too many moving parts. You just got to figure out ways to win games, and starts with eliminating, negative plays, turnovers, penalties, putting ourselves in good situations to score points. Because in the end, it's got to be scoring more points than the other team. And if our defense gives up 40, we got to score more than that. If they only give up 3, we got to score more than that. And it's just, you ebb and flow as the season goes. And some weeks the defense plays better. Some weeks offense plays better. Some weeks you get contributions to special teams. And, either way, we got to figure out how to win the games when those present the opportunities for themselves when they present themselves to make them happen. We got to be able to do it.
And next is going to be Jeff Legwold.
Tom, here in Denver, it is a quirk of your career maybe, but you've played the Broncos more than any other team outside your division, other than the Colts, and they were in the division when you started your career. But just some general recollections of yours of all your trips here. And then if you have a moment, Von Miller has always said you're one of his favorite players to face, and just your reaction to his season ending with the injury.
Yeah, I think the feeling's mutual with Vaughn, and I've played a lot of meaningful games against him, and there's nobody that's, more of an incredible player than him. And it's tough to see guys miss football seasons and guys in the prime of their career. And he's as good a player as there is on the defensive side of the ball in NFL history. He's just exceptional in every way. So it's tough to miss him. I got a chance to know him a little bit over the years and enjoy my time with him. But, hope he gets back out there healthy, and I'm sure he'll be back, being the great player that he is next year. And as far as just playing against Denver, you're right. I've played there a lot and been in the AFC all those years, traveling to Denver, playoff games in Denver. It's an electric atmosphere. I don't think we're going to get quite that this coming Sunday, but it's one of the great places in the NFL to play. And the stadium's amazing. The setting's amazing. Gronk and I were talking about the 2015 game that we played against them and how crazy that game was. And they've just always been well coached. They are this year. Got a lot of tough, hard-nosed players. They play in a tough division. And, we're going to have to play good football to beat them this week. So we got to, take the things we've learned and try to apply them and make this our best week.
We have time for a few more. Next is going to be Greg Allman.
Hey, Tom, you had a lot of years in New England where you had multiple backs that kind of worked together in the run game. You kind of have that going right now with Rojo early and McCoy on third downs and Leonard coming in like he did. How much of that is kind of what you want as a complement to the pass game there?
I just think, the more depth you have at all positions, it's just, you can't strain any one position too much. And you're going to have situations over the course of the year where guys get worn down or guys, tweak something and they're not in there as much, and guys are going to have to fill a role and they're going to have to do it well. And I think having guys at different, depth at these positions that are so important to our offense, everyone's going to play a critical role. Hey, we're really deep at receiver, all of a sudden Chris doesn't play, Mike's out for a play, J Watt gets banged up in the game. Next thing you know, it's like, all right, well, what happened to the depth? It just goes quickly. So, that's just part of football. Every team's dealing with it. Denver's got injuries. They got to adjust. We've got injuries. We got to adjust. It's just something that it's a contact sport. Everyone's not going to be there every single day, every game. It's just not the reality. So you got to work with everybody. You got to have enough communication with everybody. Everybody plays a vital role. And I think when you can gain confidence in the players that they may think they're in a backup role, but once the game starts, they're in a featured role. Those guys had to take advantage of those opportunities. That's how I got my start. I look at it like I was someone no one ever thought of me in 2001. I thought I was third string quarterback going into training camp 2 weeks into the year. I'm the starting quarterback. So you got to take advantage of your opportunity because you don't know when you're going to get it. And I try to stress that to the young players. Like every day of practice, you got a chance to make an impression on a player, on coach, build trust in your teammates so that when you get the opportunity, you go and you take advantage of it. And then you never look back.
Okay, that's all we have time for today. Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.